Hello, this is Pixel Freak, and we're doing part 9 of the Final Fantasy Dimensions walkthrough. So we have found the airship, we're going to board it, and then we're going to ransack it. This is one of the longer pieces that I've done so far. This is actually going to clock in at a half an hour, so long video. I probably should split it into two, because I really like having the videos at like 15 to 20 minutes a piece. But because it's one big cohesive dungeon, and yeah, I really don't want to break it up. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to break it up. And some events happen after this particular section of the game that I didn't want to, put into the next video. So I'm going to leave it all together. We're going to do a half an hour of this video and a half an hour of commentary. Another interesting thing here is that of all the places I've gone through and all the things that I've done so far, this one was probably the one that's most likely that I missed a treasure box, at least thus far. This dungeon gets a little bit confusing, and I remember when I did it, even though I did a dry run first, I still got a little bit lost when I was going. It might be real clear to some people, but for me, for some reason, I just went the wrong way and then kind of got turned around. Nonetheless, we'll walk through it, and maybe we can figure it out as I'm walking through now, doing my commentary. I can explain it. We're gonna take over the whole thing. So basically, you're jumping on this thing and you're saying we're gonna kill everybody here, and we're going to take all their treasure, and we're going to commandeer the ship. So here you go. Now this Moogle, I believe, has all kinds of stuff to sell, and if I remember right, this is nothing new again. This is a third store with nothing new. Don't believe it does, at least. Yeah, nothing new. Does he even have spells? So again, if you cleaned up that town a couple videos ago, you have nothing left to buy here, except for sundries, which are essentially items. I don't know of any particular status elements that are a problem here, so I don't think that you need to necessarily stock up on any particular item. Now I got those claws that I got in the last little piece in Castle Liene. So I'm kind of moving everybody here to more like their specialty jobs. I guess Dusk, that's kind of interesting that I moved him to a red mage, because primarily he's the white mage. I probably moved him to the red just because the white mage is so underpowered right now. He's not necessarily necessary. He's not needed as a white mage full time, and because of that, it's nice to have a little bit of extra damage output. So you could go white mage, black mage, but I chose to go red mage, white mage. That way I can get away with using some melee attacks as well. It looks like I'm doing the same thing with Sarah as well. So I went red mage with my guys that are going to be mages in the future, and then with my melee characters I went full melee. Those are stairs, aren't they? Those are not stairs. Okay. Interesting. Those kind of look like stairs. It's funny because I got fooled when I did the video, and I got fooled here in the commentary as well. Looks like stairs. So there's an alarm on that box. Just be ready for it. What am I doing? Why did I just cast Fira on myself? That was an accident. It's one thing I don't like, and I know that I make that mistake several times throughout the game. At least I know I have in doing this walkthrough. I know I've done it many times. And the problem is that when you hit the cast all, nice. It's a hard spell too. Really kicked my ass. When you go to hit the select all button on the left hand side, it's right next to the switch parties button, and so if you don't watch how you're hitting it and you're just hitting the buttons really fast, you can go, select my party, hit everybody, now. Okay, did I do it twice? Okay, duh. Hopefully I fix it. I'd hate to do it twice. No, I guess the buttons, when you're back attacked, the buttons are on the right-hand side. But they're a little bit close to each other, so especially on a phone. And I am playing on a tablet, so I have less of an excuse. But if you're playing on a phone, you can make that mistake even more often. Once you get a black mage with the Fira and the Blizzara and the Thundara, those guys are pretty beefy. Are you serious? That's not a way out. That really looks like a door there. Okay, this is where I think I get turned around. If I remember correctly, I think I actually go back up here when I'm supposed to go down. I think. So given that the dungeons and the areas of the game are getting a little bit longer, I might try to put more effort into taking out some of the fights. Not all of them. See, I went back up. I wasn't supposed to go back up. And so I end up like, wait a minute, I'm back at the Moogle? I remember thinking that when I was doing this. I was like, how the hell did I get back to the Moogle? It's because I went back up. Okay, my mistake. I know moving forward in this part, from this part of the video going forward, I get it right. I do believe I go up the ladder from here. There we go. So there's a chance that back where I was, where I should have gone down to check, there might have been some treasure boxes down there, and there's a possibility that I don't loop back in the video to go grab them. So be aware of that. There might be a small hole in the walkthrough because of that. Ooh, I got turned into a toad. That's the first time that's happened. I don't even remember that happening. Easy enough to fix. A lot of iron items so far. Cruising right along. Now I think with these switches you have to flick both of them, and that's all it is. Real tricky, right? But I'm pretty sure if when I flick the left one, the alarm goes off, and then I flick the right one and it opens up. So I'm not sure if you have to flick both of them, or maybe it's just the right one you have to flick. I'm not sure. So yeah, so the alarm goes off here. We get into a fight. Not that big of a deal. If you do have to do them both, but maybe when you go through, do the right one first. It may just be just the right one. I do that once in a while. I tend to like to do it that way, equip items that way, rather than equipping it on a micromanagement level. Sometimes I do the micromanagement approach where I will equip a single item when I've gotten it. But usually what I'll do is I'll wait and I'll grab multiple items, and then I'll stop for a second, go into my equipment, and then I'll flick optimize on all my guys real quick. The one thing you gotta watch out for there is if you have an item that's got some kind of status, like it inflicts poison or protects against poison, you have to make sure you remember that, because when you hit optimize, if you have a better item that doesn't have that same status thing. So there you go, I came back down from the ladder. So that's actually where the locked door is. I see how I messed this up, and I very much apologize for the walkthrough on this particular area being messed up. I probably should have gone back through and done it again. Okay, so that's where I came from. A very confused Chris was playing this dungeon. And then here I'm going to go down where I should. So it looks like I didn't miss any treasure boxes. But what I did is I did this dungeon, or this area I should say, in complete disarray. This is completely out of order. So when you go in here to do this, and you run into the zone, don't go up that ladder by the Moogle. That's where the locked door is. You need to go through here, and then unlock the door through this side, and then go back around. I love how when those guys try to engage you and they start the fight, your character like kind of does this shrinking effect. It's part of the screen pulse when you're getting into a fight, but they don't. So it looks like you're becoming a midget for a second. Watch when I get in a fight with this guy. My character, as the fight's starting, shrinks down, and then he stays the same size, and it makes this weird optical illusion as if I'm shrinking. Watch this. Midget. It's like Alice in Wonderland all of a sudden. So I don't believe in this area that there's any particular enemy that you really need to look out for. There is a boss here, and if I remember right, he's a little bit challenging. But I use a couple different tactics on him and just auto battle those away. There's nothing in there, dude. I'm like, maybe there's something on the table. But aside from that, I mean, most everything in here is just, you can take them out really quick. Nothing that's immune to anything. Nothing tricky. Hey, go figure, I found nothing. So there's nothing in that room. Switch. Now it's stairs. Now it's a ladder. Funny pathing on those guys. Kind of unfortunate. There's random battles and then there's non-random battles as well in this dungeon, and so I keep calling it a dungeon even though it's not really a dungeon. But anyways, it creates for so many extra fights, and it's nice that at least that the fights are quick because the enemies are really weak here, or at least they're not particularly special. Alright, a new grip, that's nice. Good, I'm glad I realized I went the wrong way that time. Ooh, he got me. I love how some of those guys, they can just see you from so far away. Intruders. Alright, save spot. So, check your guys for MP. Make sure that if they're low, which it looks like my guys kind of were, getting low on tents. I like to keep, and I mentioned this in a previous video, I like to keep about 10 of each item on me at all times, just because I don't like to run out of things, and tents are a pretty important piece. I haven't seen anything beyond tents in this game, cabins or anything else, but I'm kind of thinking that there will be cabins, just because in this game, a tent doesn't necessarily fill up all of your MP, it only gives you about 100. So if you're really low on magic right now, I could actually use a tent and not fill up. So I'm thinking later in the game, especially like when I have 400 or 500 magic points, I'm gonna need something bigger than a tent. It'd be kind of ridiculous for me to have to use like 5 tents. Okay, so it looks like there's gonna be some kind of switch here to unlock that previous door. So regardless of the fact that I went the wrong way at the very beginning of this walkthrough of this dungeon, it's still a pretty big, it's a substantial little area. It's a big airship. So this one's going to take you a little while. I mean, this one's going to take you 20-25 minutes, even if you go the right way. Alright, so now you have the aft key. You have to get to the aft. I don't even know what an aft is. This is the first time I've ever heard the word aft. Which is kind of funny. It's probably a ship term, and I just don't know it. There's probably like a billion people out there gonna watch this video that are gonna think, aft? You're so stupid. You don't even know what an aft is. No, I don't know what an aft is. I am not the ship sailing type. Especially not an airship, because those don't exist. Wizard's hat, ooh. Don't miss that one. I should also say, when I said a billion people that are going to watch this, it'll probably be more like a couple hundred. For now, at least, a good walkthrough on my channel probably gets a few thousand people. Something like this probably get a few hundred. I would say by after, I don't know, a few weeks, it might be at about 1,000. I really don't care though, because I'm really enjoying playing this game, and so it's been a fun walkthrough to make so far. The Final Fantasy III walkthrough, which also did okay, that was a fun walkthrough to make as well. I didn't do, I don't think, any or very little commentary on that particular walkthrough though, so it was a lot easier to make. The ones where I do commentary, I actually, like, I have to play through it to plan out the walkthrough, then I have to play through it to film it, and then I have to watch through it to do my commentary afterwards. If I do my commentary while I'm recording, that's just really awkward. Like, it would not make any sense. It's much easier when I know what the future looks like. So it's essentially going through it 3 times. And in a video like this is a half-an-hour video that I'm looking to get a few hundred hits on. And it's taking me an hour and a half to do. So it's not really time efficient, but just for the sake of loving to do what I'm doing, I'm okay with it. Getting broadswords as item drops, that's not bad. Even though a broadsword is pretty useless to me at this point in time. So here we are at the deck. And this is where I do believe the boss fight is. Dun 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 dun. So I've got a decent amount of magic points. Really, the important part is that Elgo has a bunch of magic points, because when you get to the boss, you're going to want to cast some of those higher level black magic spells. Use your red mages or white mage or whatever else you have. Use Elgo for high level casting on bosses while you're using him. And then use your other characters to heal. It makes the most sense to do it that way, because the other guys that you have just don't have the potential to do the same damage output that Elgo has. So you might as well use him to do the damage and use everybody else to heal everybody up. Having 2 red mages was actually probably a really good decision here, because the red mages, it gives me an opportunity to both deal damage and, well, that's funny, this is a boss, but this isn't the only boss. If I remember correctly, there's another one after this. The red mages have the ability to do damage, but they also have the ability to heal. And having 2 of them, I like having 2 guys that can do heal spells. Even if one of them is not really super great, like the summoner in this particular game has been really nice so far because of exactly what just happened. That is a really good heal spell, especially at this point in the game. It does damage, and it heals your entire party for a decent amount. And it doesn't cost that much in MP either, so it's pretty nice. Yeah, so having a summoner here, probably really valuable, just because he does a decent amount of damage to all your guys all at the same time. So when you get in situations like this where you have a guy that's dizzy, you usually want to take your lowest physically powered guy and give him a smack. So I probably want to take my red mage and just smack that guy. But I'm not sure. I may just wait. I may just not. Actually, no, that didn't fix it. It's good to do that just to make it so he's not going to do any damage to you. Why did I do chocobo? I should have just hit my guy there to wake him up. But you may not be able to do that. I mean, you may have your healer's the only guy that can actually spare to wake him up, and your healer's busy. It's never a good idea to use like a warrior or a monk to smack somebody out of dizzy or out of confuse, because if you do that, you may kill them. No bueno, sir. I love it. They all get around. So who's gonna steer? They're all like staring at it like, we're gonna die soon. So who's gonna do this? They hadn't thought about that before. We're going to commandeer this ship. All right, who's going to drive? Let's not think about that. Let's just wait till we get up there, and then while the ship is crashing, we'll figure out exactly who's going to drive. That's my plan when I steal a helicopter. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to kill everybody on the helicopter, and then I'm going to figure out how to drive once I get up there. It's kind of cool that painting her as this, like she has special powers almost. Something's coming. Oh, it's here. Whoa. So this guy is your next boss fight. One of Avalon's 4 generals, which is kind of funny because in the original Final Fantasy there was 4 fiends of what's it, like water, fire, earth, and wind, or something like that. They did the same thing in Final Fantasy 4. It's a common thing with Final Fantasy. They're doing 4 generals in this game. I have a feeling it's going to be something similar. So if I remember correctly, this is not a fight you actually have to win, but you might have to hold out. We'll see how this goes. Casted Firaga on himself to heal him. So now I know don't cast fire on him. Yeah, if I remember correctly though, this is not a fight that you actually have to do the damage to the guy to win. I think you just have to hold out for long enough. There you go. You actually lose, kind of. Well, Elgo loses. Elgo really loses. And then dragons. So Elgo dies. That's unfortunate. I really liked him as a character. He was pretty powerful. The problem is though is that as you kind of progress through the game, he gets less and less effective. So that really kind of cool feeling you had that you were going to have an airship, that right now is going away because your airship is crashing. You know, it's kind of funny they even put that fight in there. It's kind of a completely unnecessary fight. I guess they did it just for the transition of making Elgo get behind the wheel. I don't know. Just a very unnecessary fight. You've already fought the boss. You already fought slews of guys or a slew of all those enemies getting to this point. I don't understand why that fight is necessary. So I'm not exactly sure what had happened there, because Elgo's like, I'm going to steer the ship and we're going to crash land this bad boy. And then everybody was like, we're going to jump, I guess? That's, I mean, did they have parachutes? Did I miss something? I don't know. Somehow, though, they make it off the ship alive, and Elgo is no longer there. But here we go. Here's the first reveal of the other team members. So this is the first time you realize that they're actually okay, and they're all together, and they're apparently out in the woods with fire. I like Alba quite a bit. She's funny, but also she says some kind of messed up things that are very interesting. She's entertaining. Ho ho ho. It's Santa Claus. He came out of the trees. So I think that's supposed to be kind of like a little bit of a reveal, but it really wasn't for me. Anyways, that's the end of this piece of the walkthrough, part 9. I'll see you on part 10, where we join back up with Soul and the rest of the guys. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, this has been Pixel Freak.